a lot of people are going to ask, how long does it take to fix?
Right, so this is a question I get asked often, and
Yeah.
you have to think about this a little bit in your own mind. So if you've got a child who's neurotypical, who develops normally, they don't come out of the womb walking, talking, dancing, and riding bicycles. It takes them a while to do it. And my grandson is 2 now. He can ride a trike. He walks and he talks. He puts together sentences that have got more than 10 words. He can describe things with colour. He knows nouns and verbs and adjectives, puts them in the right order in sentences, and his fine motor skills are pretty good. His vitamin D levels are up. He's outside. So that took him 2 years to get to there.
Yeah.
Now, comes from the womb. He has everything. So he's got, he would if he's my grandson, but of course he's got all the right gear, and his mother's fed him the right gear, and we made sure that while she was pregnant, she had all the right gear. And so that's neurotypical. So that takes 2 years. Now, if you delay that, well, it's not going to happen tomorrow. They still have to fix themselves. If I take a woman who was B12 sufficient, I have an example of a woman who's B12 sufficient, and she gradually became just B12 efficient, not the rest, not the iron and not the vitamin C. And we started her on B12. Now, she was so bad that she couldn't stand up without assistance. She'd fall over. She couldn't feel. So you've got to think that this is happening with the children too. So you're assuming that they can do all of these things. So don't assume that they can do it. She couldn't feel the temperature of the floor with her feet. She couldn't even feel the clothing on her skin. So she lost that sensation. It took 2 years to fix the myelination. So she threw away the walker. She could stand on one leg. She could feel the cold and everything else, and she didn't have brain fog. So it doesn't happen instantly. You don't have a child who's running and throwing a ball when they come out of the womb. They're still not throwing a ball and hitting a target at 2 years. So don't expect that, today you're going to get on the program and tomorrow the child's going to do it. And remember, of course, you have to get that right. If you don't, you're just delaying it. And so then you have to let normal development go. Go and have a look at what a 3-year-old does, what a neurotypical 3-year-old does, and what a neurotypical 5-year-old does. And you say, well, that's what happens in 2 years. Then go back and see a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and then put your child somewhere in that and say, well, it took that child 2 years to get to this process. There are odd things, there are coordination things that they have to learn. The brain has to repeatedly do things, and that repetition doesn't happen until you fix it. So if you want to learn to hop, you've got to fall over a few times, and then you learn to hop. You've got to have all the balance, you've got to audit the canals going, you have to have all of this. Takes myelination. Myelination takes about 18 years. So bits of the brain myelinate earlier, but some of the others you've got all these limbs growing